Hey everyone, before I get started, I just want to remind you that if you like my content, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and then join the Militiaman and Crew Patreon community by clicking the link in the caption. Hey everybody, good afternoon. Militiaman and Crew here. We're glad to see you guys all coming in and showing up today. It's going to be an awesome day. Lots of things have been happening. The fun thing about what I like about the Iraqi dinar and all the related topics is that there's progress, and there's been progress, and we won't go back terribly far, but the bottom line is ever since al-Sudani has taken the helm in October of 2022, things have progressed and immensely. We've had a lot of different things, and we have many videos to show that that's the case in recent events. So here's an interesting article that I was going to talk about. Two of them. They are the Empowering the Iraqi Economy Growth Through Strategic Investments and Banking Excellence. So I come into Patreon if you have the opportunity. Dear Super Samson's brought us numerous articles today that are in our Discord chat room and our forum. And I went over quite a few of those. And again, we're going to go over some of them tonight. But the fun part is that we get consistent information from Samson on a daily basis, so it comes in fresh. Another one here is that the Parliamentary Committee announces the finalization of the investment law. So these two articles here are about our laws that are taking place, but there's some experts involved in this third annual economic forum that we'll get to. So we're going to talk about that tonight. We're also going to talk about that there's the Asian Investment Bank. There was a meeting of the Ministry of Transport to discuss Iraq's accession to the Chinese Belt Road Initiative. Well, we all know that Iraq and the Development Road Initiative took on a different name, Development Road, but ultimately has an interconnectivity with the Chinese Belt Road Initiative. So there's an article that we're going to be talking about. Then there's if you guys remember that they talked about some things that for banking and et cetera for the Iraq, they needed to talk about, they needed to do development stage stuff. And one of those things was the development of the Riyadh Investment Bank. Okay, so that was going to be for the small enterprises, medium enterprises, etc., for the youth of the country of Iraq, and who were going to be part of the backbone. And some of the people that are involved with that were the World Bank, the IFC. Those are some of the acronyms that you're going to be talking about. And then here's another one by the gentleman of the name is Makia. His article today was about the Investment Authority is working to achieve economic integration. Integration is a buzzword that they've been using a lot lately. They've been using the Development Road Project. They've been using sustainable development. They've been using integration. Some of these buzzwords are conducive to the World Bank and the IMF, the WTO, on and on. But integration is a big deal because why? Integration is part of the WTO. That's why I'm going to be bringing this stuff up. Here, this is the Bank of Jordan links Iraq through the electronic system for Arab countries. And one of the key words involved with them is in strategic investments. And we talk about integration in trade. And interestingly enough, when I say the WTO talks about integration, Jordan is a full member since 2000, if I have that correctly, of the WTO. Then we have other countries that they're talking about, is that they have the country of Azerbaijan is talking about integration. So we're going to talk about a few of these things today. And we're also going to talk about the fact that some of these circumstances have happened recently, that there are banks out there that aren't playing by the rules, and some of them have been sequestered, if you will, which is I believe it's called the Huda Bank, and they've had some problems, and we'll find out if those allegations are actually true or not. So some of the things that we're going to go over, I would say that I'll get to the first part later, and I'll stick with this Asian Investment Bank meeting. Okay, the Ministry of Transport is discussing joining the China's Belt and Road Initiative. and they are talking about gearing up with the Asian Investment Bank. And why would they be doing this? Well, they're basically looking at expanding all the trade. It says here the Iraq secession to the Belt Road Initiative, as well as joining the Asian Infrastructure Bank. Think about infrastructure, and we're talking about massive amount of work if that's the case. So the Infrastructure Investment Bank, they discussed those things during the meeting. It was emphasized to speed up the procedures, like let's hurry up, let's go. We got issues. I'm not so sure that the Evergrande debacle in China's got any motivation behind any of this. I wouldn't be surprised. Well, we'll find out if that has anything to do with it, because look, there's a lot of countries that are struggling out there, and the whole focus is sustainable development throughout the world and the region. I think even the UN has a 2030 plan that is focused in on a few countries, at least in the Middle East, which is Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Iraq. And that's sustainable development. So that's telling you a story in and of itself that they expect Iraq to be part of that project for the next 6 years is sustainable development. In other words, bring it in and let's see if we can sustain it. And I think that that's where they're headed. So during this meeting, it was emphasized to speed up the procedures. The Minister of Transport, his name is Mr. Razak Muhabis al-Sadawi. It says he came up with the recommendations that are interests of the country and that contribute to the financing of the ministry's projects. So ultimately, the Infrastructure Investment Bank has their eyes on the projects in Iraq. What are we talking about? We're talking about airports, we're talking about roads, we're talking about sewer systems, we're talking about 10 cities, 6 cities, all these different things. So there's a lot of people that are out there looking at this as a standpoint of like, hey, let's get going, let's build this country out, and let's move forward. And interestingly enough, we're going to talk about the World Bank Group. Why are they important? Well, a lot of people have little problems with all these big acronyms and big names and stuff, but the wheel of progress is moving forward, whether we like it or not. And the bottom line is this going to make a difference in the world? And the answer would probably be probably 100% yes. The World Bank is investing in Aldo Iraqi company for cement industries. Well, have you guys been to Iraq? They don't have a lot of forests out there in the desert. So what do they use? They use cement, they use blocks, they use stonework. What do they build roads with? They use in some cases, they use base materials, they use asphalt, and they can use concrete. They can use all kinds of different materials. And interestingly enough, what are we talking about? It says a leading cement manufacturer and part of Al Riyadh Investment Companies Group, right? Al Riyadh, what is that? That's that bank that they set up. Iraq is set up to build the country out. So everybody needs to realize that this is a global initiative. It has been. We talked about in September. You know, you can discuss it and think that nothing's happened. We've heard this before, and all they do is kick the can. That's absolutely false. The bottom line is that they have been working to build out this country methodically, and they want to do it right. And I think that that's the focus, is because it's not just Iraq, it's the World Bank, it's the IMF, it's the Bank of International Settlements, the United States Treasury, everybody's involved. So it's exciting, you guys, to see that here we have the IFC, which is a component of the World Bank. And what are they talking about? They've made a decision what was to help boost economic diversification and spur sustainable growth. There's that key word again, so they use it all the time. And sustainable, they'll use development throughout these articles, so pay attention to that. It's really kind of it's fascinating. And what are they going to be doing? They're going to be creating hundreds of jobs, bolstering reconstruction efforts. It says the IFSC is providing a financing package of up to $130 million in long-term debt to this particular company. The financing will be through them, the Aldo company, to expand its cement production capacity by 1 million tons of cement per year, enabling the company to reach an overall production of approximately 3 million tons of cement by the end of 2025. Well, the World Bank and the IFC are working to expand cement. And what are they doing? Stimulating the economy. Indirect. They're talking about 2,700 jobs. Well, 2,700 high-paying jobs, you can multiply that by between 4 to 12 extra people to support each and every one of those good quality jobs, if that's the way it works. But the bottom line is they're going to try to make it more efficient and work through this. And basically, what is the IFC saying? A component of the World Bank. IFC's aim is to empower a key player in Iraq's private sector to take a leading role in the economy's diversification, reconstruction, while supporting sustainable development. Like I said, these are all the words that they've been using. These are not my words. This is the news, and it really is actually pretty cool. It says here back what? IFC also signed an agreement back in September of 2023. Really? Isn't that the time when Al-Sudani was at the UN Assembly System meetings, and talking about being sort of the savior of the global financial system back in September of 2023? I think it was. In fact, I know it was. Development country's first airport public-private partnership project to modernize Baghdad's airport. So they did this back in September, and they're doing a public and private partnership. Okay, cool. So that's an interesting concept, because when we get to the law aspect, is that what are we talking about? We're talking about infrastructure. We're talking about industrial law, partnership law. So these things have been in place, and it wasn't just yesterday. So this isn't brand new. So take it easy, see what happens. Look at it like this way. More and more investments have the intention of global investors, as I see it. Look, the World Bank and the IFC, the institutional syndication platform for investors, is not just a run-of-the-mill group of entities. It's a group of people that know business. These guys are groomed. They've been around a long time. The negotiations for the WTO have been an ongoing situation for 20 years. So there's some seasoned people that are involved in all this. You have an entity, I think it is the AFC fund, up 110.4% in Iraq. Huge. Think about that for a minute. What do you get at your savings account? What do you get in your IRAs? What are you getting as far as percentage-wise over an annual growth? They have 110.4%. This country is going to explode. Everybody and their brother that's invested in the Dinar should be thinking clearly by now, as far as I'm concerned. And I say that with all due respect, you guys. This is fun. The investment authority is working to achieve economic integration. There's, again, what does the WTO integrate? Are they going to integrate countries into their system, the multilateral system, the bilateral system, the plurilateral system, agriculture? Are they going to do all that stuff? Absolutely 100%. That's the whole idea. Basically, the chairman of the National Investment Authority, his name is Haider Mohammed Makia, stressed the work to achieve economic integration in order to maximize financial resources and diversify investment projects. These are big deals, you guys. Investment projects, integration, it's all now. Why are they talking about it today? It's because all the things that we've been seeing happening are now starting to grab traction. They're starting to gain steam, if you will. The head of the National Investment Authority, he says he's received the ambassador of the Republic of Azerbaijan. Isn't that a coincidence? Azerbaijan is a member that is looking to have accession to the WTO at or around the same time Iraq is, and they have memorandums of understanding, if I'm not mistaken, trade deals with Iraq, and here they're talking about developing cooperation and investment and economic relations between the two countries. There you go, right? Integration. Didn't we just see Jordan talk about integration? Didn't we see Spain just talk about integration? So integration is what? Integrating, doing banking, electronic transfers, cross-border payments. I think you guys are starting to get the picture. It says the authority is working to achieve economic integration in order to maximize financial resources and diversify investment projects. For his part, the Azerbaijani ambassador, his country's desire to consolidate cooperation with Iraq, especially in the field of investment specialized in production of building materials, the agricultural sector, energy, and the participation in the development road project. I don't know. I think you might want to just drop the mic on that, because that's basically countries talking about everything that I just got through saying. All right? This isn't ice cream trucks. This isn't, corgis bouncing down the street. How close we are. This is pretty real. It's pretty cool. It says here, the Bank of Jordan, what we talk about. The Bank of Jordan links Iraq through an electronic system with four Arab countries. So it's a regional thing. One of the things about the WTO and one of the things about the IMF and others is reconciliation. So here we're talking about sort of a reconciliation, is that we get the Bank of Jordan announces Iraq includes a strategic investment market that has all the elements of successful investment. So we are keen to present in this market that leads to joint investments between Iraq and Jordan. What have they done? Well, they basically looked up, they have, they're talking about putting 4 banks, interlinking them electronically so that they can have what Iraq includes a strategic investment market that has all these elements of success. And what they're doing is they're keen to present the market so that the two countries can work together. It says that the Bank of Jordan, through its presence in Iraq, seeks to meet the needs of customers, whether Iraqis or Jordanians, which is really cool because it doesn't matter who you are, by exploiting its network and electronic systems in the region of the Arab countries in which it's located. They go on to say the Bank of Jordan is present in many Arab countries, including Iraq, in Palestine, Bahrain, and Syria. They're in the United Kingdom. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. That's my bad. Therefore, we see that there is integration, trade, exchange. I love these words, right? The system and the exchange of his money is very easy. So in other words, everybody's getting geared, integrating trade and exchange. We can move our money easy. Bank of Jordan can implement the electronic system in Iraq. Okay, what are they doing? They're seeking economic integration that will generate basically the nucleus for investments that can compete in the Arab region. So by using those terms, I think you guys can see the bigger picture. And then we have one of the things that I'll just fairly briefly touch on is that our United States ambassador has basically said that the measures that we've taken will help protect the Iraqi financial system and legitimate business from exploitation. So the United States is basically stating that their measures will protect Iraq's financial system and legitimate business from exploitation. And they're saying that our work with the Iraqi government will enhance the economic future of all Iraqis. That kind of fits in line with what we were talking about September. Al-Sudani was at the UN Assembly meeting, and what were they talking about? Iraq being a key component in saving the global financial system. And so here again, the United States is basically saying the things that we are doing, whether what you hear, what you don't hear, our goal is our work with the Iraqi government is to enhance the economic future of Iraqis. So take that into consideration tonight, please, if you don't have anything more pressing. Here's this, back to this article about empowering the Iraqi economy through strategic investments in banking excellence. I found this to be a really fascinating article. So it's the 3rd Annual Economic Forum. It was at the Sihan University in Doha. The Sirvan Abdul Mohsen Assad, president of the university, and a number of experts and economists, bank managers, and academic figures were all at this research center hall under what slogan? Empowering the Iraqi economy. Growth through strategic investments and banking excellence. So they spent the afternoon having a couple of hours of chit-chat, moderations, academia. Former members of the Iraqi parliament were there. Okay, so the first speaker, Abdul Hassan al-Anbaki, he had a speech. His quote of the day of this particular time frame was that the necessity of addressing structural imbalances in the economy, pointing out that the failure to achieve the goals associated with Article 25, which aims to reform the economy by diversifying sources and supporting the private sector. But he goes on to say, he refers to the history of the Reconstruction Council and the impact of changes in its allocations on the effectiveness, proposing the establishment of an independent popular development fund to finance government and private projects with soft loans. He concluded with the recommendations for administrative reform before economic reform, reconsidering the management of oil revenues, adjusting the exchange rate of the Iraqi dinar, and canceling the currency auction. And add on is the legislation of public and private partnership law. And we talked about laws, okay? So we're going to be seeing how they're talking about this, and this legislation is in the news actually within the last day or so, and it's still on the table. So we're going to find out if we can touch on that. It goes on, but the main point here was that these people are experts in the field. They're talking about structural imbalances, and there's a reason what they need to do, and the recommendations they had for these structural imbalances is to reconsider the management of oil revenues. So management of these oil revenues could mean what? Well, first off, the Cyan port's not pumping a lot of oil, so they need to get that back online. But what are they using in terms of, well, what would bring that Cyan port back on? They're going to need a valuation for that oil to go out of the country at this particular time. And we haven't seen that. We haven't seen the salaries, right? So, but they say, and this gentleman says, he goes on to say, adjusting the exchange rate of the Iraqi dinar means that that is a recommendation for them to adjust the exchange rate of the Iraqi dinar. And then canceling the currency auction. Which currency auction are they talking about? There's only one that we know of. That has to do with the parallel market, the illegal market, the black market. I don't care what you call it. The bottom line is it is a market that has been grafted from for 20 years. And they need to cease it. And that's what they've been doing. They've been actively openly telling everybody that you have little time left. And so canceling the currency auction, and what else? Legislation of the public and private partnerships. What have they been trying to do? They want to merge the public and private sector. The Rafidane Bank, the Rashid Bank, the Iraqi Trade Bank, all of those banks were to do what? Go from public to private. That's what they're talking about here. So really, it's really cool. So the second speaker, Haval Siddiq Ismail, he goes on to say that his quote was, they presented a comprehensive analysis of the investment situation in the region. He provided details about investment projects and successful sectors in attracting investment with a focus on challenges and opportunities and policies. The government encourages investors, which he also highlights regulatory and bureaucratic obstacles. They go through some of the downsides, upsides, but he gets going and basically comes to the point where Mohammed al-Najjar, different advisors, steps in and says that the Iraqi Prime Minister for Investment and Executive Director of the Iraqi Fund for Development, what are they going to do? They're shedding light on the Iraq Fund for Development, which has been really basically a newly developed entity. And what are they looking at doing? They're going to be diversifying the Iraqi economy. The fund aims to attract local and international investors to participate in the implementation of various projects. And a prominent example of that is that they're going to build 1,950 schools across Iraq. A lot of cement involved in that, a lot of asphalt, a lot of roads, a lot of steel. Okay, these projects will be diversified to private sector's investors and the Iraqi investor exclusively, with guarantees such as the return of capital after 5 years. So they have guarantees on their investment. Not only does it ensure that the effective participation of the private sector in the reconstruction process in Iraq, the fund strategy focuses on different stages of investors, starting from local investors, to foreign investors. It emphasizes the involvement of local stakeholders to enhance local ownership in development projects, with an emphasis on handing over projects to the private sector to guarantee a return on capital after a certain period of time. So the focus is to jumpstart this country like now. It says that Al-Tabjali, he talks about strategies for attracting investments in the Iraqi stock exchange. It says that the market characterized by strong performance as the AFC fund rose by 110.4% in 2023, making it one of the best funds in the world. So how does Iraq have one of the best funds in the world without having a reason behind it? You're not going to do a lop to your currency, okay? You're just not going to do that. I don't care who you are out there suggesting and thinking that way. Basic math, elementary school math will not allow Iraq's budget at 1310 to do any of this. It's in my opinion. By the development law, the new procedures by the Central Bank of Iraq, which lead to accelerating the reliance on banking services and enhancing growth in the non-oil economy. I want everybody to back up just for a second. So when they say the non-oil economy, Iraq's currency back in the day, during Saddam Hussein, for instance, was $3.22 as far as we can tell. I think everybody can agree with that. We all know that, right? I think it's in the IMF documents. I'm pretty sure it's public information. That was on oil only. You didn't add in tourism. You didn't add in the gold. You didn't add in the reserves, the natural gas. Did you add in hydrogen, liquid natural gas? No. How about the tourism at the borders, the taxes and tariffs themselves? Did you equate that into your analysis? I don't think anybody talks about that. So I'm glad I was able to bring that up tonight, because it's something that everybody that is invested in the Iraqi dinar and has any interest in related topics should know some of these things to be evident and true. And I just would like to say that this last post I want to talk about is the Parliament Committee announces in the finalization of the investment law. We talked about investment, the public, private sector, right? It says the Parliamentary Investment Committee, and this was the 29th, today's the 30th, tomorrow's the 31st, so this was pretty fresh. It says that they revealed on Monday the finalization of the approval of the industrial investment law in the House of Representatives. These guys got it on the table, while stressing that the next session will witness the vote on the second reading and then the full vote on it. Could they do that in one day? I don't know. They sure probably could. It goes on to say that the adoption of this law will support investment and provide many facilities to investors. The gentleman says that in an interview that the need to move to stimulate investment in the industry sector, which lacks many basics, okay? He goes on to say that this particular law contains a lot of materials and legislation that will contribute to the success of the industrial investment sector that Iraq missed during the previous years. So obviously they didn't do it right the first time. Now maybe they'll get it this time. Or they just didn't have it on the agenda. The adoption of this law will be commensurate with the government program and the steps taken by the current government. So in other words, the government's totally behind it. The investment committee worked to add paragraphs that will contribute to a qualitative boom in the investment sector in Iraq. The adoption of the industrial investment law has been finalized in the next parliament sessions. That's an interesting way of putting it. Sounds like it's a foregone conclusion. Excuse me. In previous years, Iraq lacked the adoption of such laws, and when it would be an attractive environment for investment and the advancement of the sector. And basically, effectively stating that the law is in place, or it's on the table, to do what we just talked about, which is to get some of these recommendations on the table. Are they going to act on these recommendations? Is it the central bank stating it? No. Are they experts? Yeah. This is the third economic forum. They talked about it. It's a research center, so it's people that are qualified to be there to be talking about this information. And why would somebody just out of the blue just bring up, oh, and by the way, change the value of your currency, manage your oil revenues, and cancel that currency auction? And legislate the public and private partnership law. Would you just throw that out there for fun? Okay, I think you guys understand that when people talk like that, there's a reason for it. And so we're in the process of watching it unfold. So thanks, you guys, for being with me tonight. It's been awesome. I think everybody should be able to be excited because the news is collectively showing that Iraq is moving to a private sector, a market economy, and there's partnerships with the public to be able to facilitate it. And when you see the World Bank step in, buy into a cement company, and you think, well, put your money where your mouth is, right? So they're going to have the money to be able to make sure that this succeeds. Awesome stuff, you guys. So if you like my content, hit that like button. And then if you'd like to subscribe, awesome. And we have PayPal, and we have Zelle and Venmo if you guys want to help contribute to keep us all going. Thank you so much. Once again, guys, don't forget to hit that like button if you like this content. Subscribe to the channel or join us at the Militia Man and Crew Patreon community for even more exclusive content. You can also donate to this channel by hitting the links in the banner to help keep this page up and running. Your generous support is greatly appreciated, as always. Much, much appreciated. Thank you so much, and have a great day.